The first thing I'd like you to do is to just, with attention and respect, just wave your hand over this, and that will make you what we call a first flamer. You'll be baptized by fire. So just to convince you that this stuff is actually producing energy, just run your hand over it. Come on forward. You have been baptized by fire. It's real, right? It's hot, right?
Yeah,
this is not an optical illusion.
Something that they can look at.
The ritual that we all engage in. Would you like to, what was it, Diana?
Dr. G.
I did.
No, by the book behind you.
Dr. G.
What about Dr. Jean?
Dr. Dean, just wave your hand
Be careful.
over here. That way you know it's real.
It is real.
It's just so clean. Go ahead, come on, Dino, and just...
You just been baptized in fire.
Yeah, you notice he doesn't have any of the students do that.
Oh no, we all did
Wave
it.
your hand. You don't keep it
Yeah.
there.
You'll
Because
have
you'll
your
start to
hand
get popping
burger,
sound and smell
as we
flesh.
say, the hamburger. This is a flame that is true natural gas, but it's safer than the natural gas that you have piped in because it's got 30 to 40% carbon dioxide in it, which is a flame extinguisher. That means it will never backflash, so it isn't going to explode. That means that it's not going to cause any of those attendant problems that you get with pure natural gas, which has a very high flame tip velocity and expansion capacity. So it's a very safe fuel. But at the flame tip, it's natural gas because it's the methane that's burning. The carbon dioxide is falling down to the ground, unlike propane, where the propane is heavier than air and it will pool if you tried to cook in your RV, in a greenhouse, in the kitchen, and then you have to have the propane sensor. This is methane, which is lighter than air, and it's rising as it burns. It never falls. Carbon dioxide is falling out, so you could never get a flame here. And if I were to take something like a piece of paper and put it down at the bottom, it will not ignite, simply because the flame is not going down. It's always going up.
Wow.
And that's what's beautiful about this, is safe, clean fuel. Works just like a propane thing, but there's no soot, there's no smoke, there's no toxins, not even carbon monoxide.
Sounds like a great thing for developing countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ends lung and eye disease that plagues over 4 million women and children die from indoor air pollution, from charcoal and firewood, from propane. We were in Haiti and they were trying to scrub the pots and pans all day, getting their clothes all dirty. It's terrible. And here, the pots stay completely clean. There's no black kettle because it's so clean. It's just carbon dioxide and water, so it's very safe and very clean source.
Heat source as well.
It's a heat source. I use it to heat my shower water. I use it to cook on, and in emergencies, we can run it through a generator to make electricity. It's just natural gas with 30% carbon dioxide to make it mellow and safe. It also has a slight hydrogen sulfide smell. That's good because they put that smell back into bottled gas, so you know if there's a leak, this naturally has it. If you use it in an engine and don't remove that smell, it'll eventually corrode the engine. So for running an engine, you put it through a little filter, take out the hydrogen sulfide. But very safe, very clean, and the dedicated biogas stoves are only different from a normal stove in that they have taken the input and there is no restrictor. And when you have a propane stove, there's a tiny little nozzle with a pinhole because it's under high pressure. This has no pressure. So it's just, if I unplug it, it's just this. Plastic tube and this. And there's no air hole under here like in a propane stove. So if you want to turn your barbecue or grill, which I've done, to run on biogas, you just widen this up so it's wide, and you close up any holes here because it gets its air from right up top and it burns. We also make stoves out of coffee cans and paint cans by punching holes in the lid, putting some stones in, and punching a hole in the side and putting a pipe. So everybody can cook on biogas, even if they live in what they call in German we call it Ellenviertel, the suffering zone. And we've built these in Cairo, and we've built them in the slums of India, and we've worked in Guatemala. You got an old paint can and a knife and a screwdriver, and you can build a biodigester out of anything. So here's one built out of a 55-gallon drum. It shows how they operate. A feed pipe, which is a 4-inch tube going to the bottom so the food can get down under the water level, which is filled up to here. A gas outlet pipe here at the top, coming out the very top because gas rises. And then a fertilizer outlet pipe for the liquid compost tea that comes out the middle of the thing because the fats will float The proteins and other solids will sink. When they get digested, they turn into a liquid that's neutrally buoyant, and that's what comes out every time we push new food in. The biogas company in Israel that I work with and have been working for the past 15 years, my buddy Yair, he was building them by hand. I was building by hand. I said I'd be the guy who teaches people to build their own out of local recycled material while he goes into business. He built the home biogas company, which is now in over 60 countries and endorsed by the United Nations. Home Biogas Inc. This is their version 2.0. We used to have a version 1.0 on the property. Eventually that fell apart, which is why they changed the material to the 2.0. Now we have a 3.0 and we've got the 4.0 that we're setting up soon. It also has a toilet attached. So biogas is good for toilet waste, food waste, fat, meat, grease, potatoes, moldy bread, you name it. Everything you can't put in the compost, you put into the biodigester. It's a tank of water, whether it's a 55-gallon drum, or it's a 5-gallon drum, or it's made out of an IBC tote, like Dino and I were talking about. You can make a biodigester out of anything that will hold water. It has a pipe going down for the mouth and the throat to feed it, a pipe coming out the other side for the liquid compost tea, and a pipe coming out the top for the gas. 3 pipes. If you all go like this, is the sign language word for I love you, and it teaches you how to build a biodigester. The I for the input, for the throat, the index finger pointing to heaven for the gas that comes out the top, and then the part of the L for the effluent, the liquid fertilizer, and this is the tank. Anything that holds water with 3 pipes can be made into a biodigester. I've made them out of metal, plastic, bags, IBC totes, cement, concrete, leather, just a bag with 3 pipes. That's a biodigester because it's just a stomach filled with water, and then we put an inoculant. I've used my baby's diaper waste. We have cloth diapers. So his whole life he's contributed to this because I'll just scrape the diaper to clean them. That's how we process my baby's diaper waste. It has no odor when it's in the digester. We've used animal manure. We've used lake mud, pond muck. Wherever you can find anaerobic microbes, the archaea, you have a source to start it. And in Palestine one summer, we wanted to build a biodigester before the border closed. So we built it and we couldn't find a source to inoculate it, and I was not going to leave without making it work. So we ran to the roadside and there was a dry piece of horse poop. Just a tiny piece that was dry, and we picked it up and we said, well, there might be a living microbe in here somewhere. We dropped it in. 5 weeks later, the microbes had proliferated. The system was working. They got gas, and they were able to feed it their food waste. You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot in the beginning. Now, at the end, when they fill it up, we do suggest that you continually add some source of animal manure to give it fresh genes. Because one of the things is if you poison it with indigestion by giving it too much acid, for example, say you feed it Twinkies, you have an unhealthy diet, and you pour all that in, it's going to get indigestion and you're going to kill off your microbes. So by adding a constant stream of inoculant, you know it's always going to work, and that's why we have one now that has a toilet, and that way every time you poop, you're putting microbes in. They come from you. Yes, we built one in Brazil in Rio for dog food. They did Cambridge. MIT built one in a park in Cambridge for dog walkers to take their poop, put it in, and then it lit the gas lamps for the people walking at night.
Just because, suburban and urban parks, there's a ton of dog food.
Yep. Yeah, there was a movement to do it. What?
Elitist problem.
Elitist problem. Yes. Right. And it also it's a problem with feral dogs. I mean, poop is a big.
Absolutely, they're all over a lot of developing countries. Like in our case, we have these bags all over our community, man. And then that little thing, it's just gross and smelly.
There's a law in Brazil now in Rio where they have places to put the dog poop for dog walkers, but you have to use newspaper or paper. You cannot use plastic.
It's all plastic bags right now here.
Yeah, plastic. We've tried the biodegradable plastic bags. They don't degrade in an anaerobic chamber, so forget that. Biodegradable bags need industrial composting at the right temperatures and pressures, and so that doesn't work. But it's a very simple concept. You have a tank. This is the balloon that sits on top. This is not part of the digester. This is just a balloon with sandbag weights to push the gas to the stove. And it's just sitting on top because the gas goes up this pipe here, comes up here, goes into the bag, and then goes out to the stove. So the digester is actually this with the 3 pipes, or that with the 3 pipes. or this with the 3 pipes, and then there's a bag or a balloon to hold the gas. And that's it. That's a biodigester. You can build one out of anything.